The last confirmed position of Colonel Percy Fawcett can be reduced to a few simple numbers on a map. 11 degrees south, 54 degrees west. Beyond that point, there is only guesswork. And forest, endless, unbroken forest. In 1925, Fawcett walked into the green labyrinth of Mato Grosso, convinced he was on the threshold of a shimmering ancient city he called Z. He promised his family he would return with proof. Instead, the jungle kept his secret. To understand why he risked everything, we have to go back. Back to an era when blank spaces on the map were invitations. And one man believed that somewhere in the Amazon, civilization had risen and vanished. Percy Harrison Fawcett was not a reckless amateur. He was a trained surveyor, a veteran of the Royal Geographical Society, a man who had drawn borders on the very edge of empire. Between 1906 and 1914, he mapped thousands of miles of South American frontier, walking where there were no roads, cutting lines through forests that swallowed compasses and men alike. In the field, he heard stories, whispers from rubber tappers and traders, legends told in indigenous villages of stone roads, towering structures, and fields that once fed thousands. Then, in Rio de Janeiro, he found something that changed his life. A crumbling Portuguese manuscript, number 512, written in the 18th century. It described a lost city deep in Brazil. High stone arches, strange inscriptions, and streets laid out with a precision that suggested engineering, not chance. To most scholars, it was a curiosity. To Fawcett, it was confirmation. He became convinced that a sophisticated, pre-Columbian city or network of citishad once existed in the interior of Brazil. He called this place Z, not just a city of gold, but a city of knowledge. Evidence, he believed, that the Amazon had once supported a complex civilization, equal to the great centers of the Old World. The idea consumed him. After the First World War, with Europe shattered, his dream of Z only grew brighter. In it, he imagined not only ruins, but perhaps a living remnant, a people who had somehow remained apart, guarding ancient wisdom in the heart of the forest. But obsession has a cost. The Amazon was not an empty stage, waiting for explorers. It was and is a living world, already inhabited, already known to those who belong to it. Fawcett knew its dangers better than most. On earlier expeditions, he had faced disease, exhaustion, and long stretches of isolation. He had seen what could happen when outsiders ignored local warnings. His colleagues urged caution. Some considered the interior of Mato Grosso effectively impassable. Others questioned whether Z was anything more than a mirage built from myths and misread texts. Yet in 1925, at the age of 57, Fawcett decided to try again. He turned down large, heavily equipped expeditions. He believed a small, unobtrusive party would move faster, avoid conflict, and attract less attention from hostile groups. His final team was shockingly small, just 3 men, Percy himself, his 21-year-old son Jack, and Jack's friend Raleigh Rimmel. 3 people to challenge a region that had defeated whole companies. They left civilization step by measured step. From Rio, they traveled inland to Cuyab, then deeper, following rivers and mule tracks toward the Xingu and the unmapped interior of Mato Grosso. Rain, insects, and illness slowed them, but Fawcett's letters remained optimistic. In late May, they reached what Fawcett dubbed Dead Horse Camp, named after an animal lost there on a previous journey. Here, he wrote his last known message to the outside world. He gave Nina, his wife, his approximate position, around 11 degrees south, 54 degrees west. From that place on the map, he described the land ahead as promising. He believed he was close, perhaps weeks, away from the fringes of Z. He confidently instructed that no rescue expedition should be sent if they went silent. Around the campfire, the mood would have been complicated. Jack and Raleigh, young and idealistic, trusting the older man who led them. Percy, standing at the edge of a dream that had followed him for decades, staring into trees that grew thicker with every step. They left Dead Horse Camp at the end of May 1925. Their path, reconstructed from Fawcett's notes and later indigenous testimony, likely took them northeast, toward the basin of the Upper Xingu, into an area known to the Kalapalo and other peoples for generations, but almost completely unknown to Europeans. For a brief moment, they were not yet legend. They were simply 3 strangers, walking into someone else's homeland. Years later, members of the Kalapalo community, would tell of 3 foreigners who arrived in their territory. Thin, tired, but determined, they were warned that the route they intended to follow was dangerous, that other groups ahead might not welcome their presence. Fawcett, according to some accounts, listened politely but continued on. The last reported sighting has them crossing a river, moving east, still hopeful. After that, the trail ends. We don't know what happened in those final days. Perhaps illness overtook one of them. Perhaps they lost their way or their supplies in a landscape that offers little margin for error. It is possible they encountered a group that saw them as intruders. It is possible they simply could not survive the slow, wearing pressure of the forest. The hunger, the exhaustion, the endless wet and heat. However it happened, the outcome was the same. They did not come back. No letter, no proof of Z. Months passed, then years. Silence from the jungle turned curiosity into anxiety, and anxiety into obsession. Newspapers around the world seized on the story of the missing colonel and his vanished party. Rumors multiplied. Some claimed Fawcett had found Z and chosen to stay there, renouncing the outside world. Others insisted he had been captured or was living as a kind of ruler among an unknown people. Rescue missions set out, one after another. Many turned back. A few disappeared themselves, claimed by the same vast region that had removed Fawcett from the map. At the Royal Geographical Society, debates raged. Was Fawcett a visionary, chasing a truth ahead of its time? Or had he allowed a romantic dream to override the hard limits of reality? For most of the 20th century, official opinion leaned against him. The Amazon, many scholars argued, could not have supported large, complex societies. Its poor soils, they believed, condemned it to small, scattered settlements. But the forest was still keeping its own records. Layered quietly in the ground were traces of earthworks, road systems, and long-abandoned settlements. They were not made of towering stone, but of earth, wood, and a dark, man-made soil terra preterite and fertile. Archaeologists began to find vast geometric earthworks in the southern Amazon, only visible when forest was cleared. In the upper Xingu, they mapped networks of villages linked by straight paths and carefully managed fields. Places like Kyuhakugu suggested populations in the tens of thousands before European contact. The picture changed. Fawcett's exact vision of Za's single, monumental city of stone may have been wrong, but his core belief that the Amazon once held complex, organized societies was closer to reality than his critics had ever allowed. The tragedy lies in the gap between his Victorian imagination and the living world he walked through. He searched for a lost city while passing through the territories of peoples whose ancestors had built real, sophisticated communities. Yet his era's mindset often treated those communities as background, not as the main story. Indigenous oral histories speak of ancient villages, epidemics, displacements, and survival. The lost cities were not mythical. They were communities broken and scattered by disease and outside intrusion. Their memory endured in stories, in soil, in the careful way the forest was managed. Today, satellites and LiDAR peel back the canopy, revealing buried patterns, grids, mounds, causeways. The Amazon, we now know, was not an untouched wilderness, but a shaped landscape, a place of memory where traces of past societies lie just beneath the roots. Fawcett never lived to see this evidence. His dream consumed him before the science could catch up. The same forest that hid the ruins he sought also hid his fate. His final coordinates are still there on the page. 11 degrees south, 54 degrees west, a point where certainty ends and speculation begins. Standing there today, you would see nothing unusual. Trees, vines, the steady sound of insects. No arches, no shining towers, no engraved stones. And yet in the soil beneath your feet, there might be charcoal, pottery fragments, or the ghost lines of ancient fields. The kind of quiet proof that does not shout, but patiently waits to be read. Evidence that the city he imagined was never just one place, but a whole region of human lives and stories. Percy Fawcett walked into the forest looking for a single shining city. What he found, whether he recognized it or not, was something more complicated. A living world that does not bend itself to one person's legend. In the end, the Amazon kept its greatest secret. It swallowed the explorer and his coordinates, pressing them down under layers of leaf and time. His story survives as a cautionary tale about where curiosity ends and where obsession begins. The jungle remains, green, indifferent, and full of memories. And somewhere inside it, the last footprint of Percy Fawcett has long since faded into earth, while the question he carried still hangs in the air. What do we truly seek when we go looking for lost cities?